What's up, everybody? Kyle here at Let's Talk Wax, and today we're going to be looking at my updated Juggernaut rankings for the month of June. These are objective rankings that are stat-based, and I use them to rank all prospects that qualify for the system, which is 23 and under and over 150 plate appearances. Now, before we jump into the top 10 for this month, I'm going to go over how these things work. So I created a formula which I call my Juggernaut ranking because it encompasses the entire minor league player base based on the qualifications, as I mentioned, of 23 and under and over 100 plate appearances. Now, in order to create some more movement in my next video, I may up the plate appearance cutoff to 200 plus, which will take some of the guys who have been injured for quite a while, and it will eliminate them from my list. But the ranking is based on weighted on-base average, stolen bases per plate appearance, K percentage, swing strike percentage, WRC plus, and age level. I apply different weights to these specific stats to come up with a final score. And like I said before, there's about 900 players on this ranking system right now, and over on Patreon you can find my complete rankings that are sorted by both rank and by player. So if you want to look for a certain player that you collect and see where they rank on the Juggernaut, you can do that, as well as see players that are organized by the rank 1 through about 900. Now, you're also going to be seeing something called a Let's Talk Wax rank on this video, and I'm going to go over that quickly as well. Not a lot to speak about here. My Let's Talk Wax ranking system is basically my personal opinion of players. The Juggernaut ranking system is based solely on offensive numbers and does not account for defensive value or for projection and player ceiling. So my Let's Talk Wax ranking system, I kind of go over all the different facets of a prospect: defensive value, offensive value, projection, and my personal input based on their stats and what they've been doing, and their different tools. And it's my personal rank based on a player ceiling. So it is subjective, and it is definitely up for debate. So if you guys disagree with my Let's Talk Wax ranking systems, if you think somebody should be higher or lower, let me know in the comments for sure. It's always fun to talk about prospects with you guys and see who thinks somebody's better or a little worse than what other people think. All right, now that we understand how all of this works, I'm going to jump into our top 10. And as I mentioned before, on my Patreon page, you can find the complete Juggernaut rankings for the month of June. I also have the month of May, April, and the finalized season rankings from 2023 over there as well, if you guys like to backtrack and dig through data. But at number 10, we've got Roman Anthony, who climbed all the way to number 10 over the last month and went from number 60 on the Juggernaut to number 10. He did battle a small injury. He's only got 238 plate appearances, but he's a Boston Red Sox center fielder, 20.2, playing in Double-A. So the age level gets him a lot of points on my Juggernaut ranking system. That's one of the big things I do weigh is age level, so that is incorporated into the ranking. Over 238 plate appearances, he's hitting 255 with a 180 ISO. He's got a sub 2 K to walk rate and a 26.1 K percentage. 7 home runs and 6 stolen bases. Now, career-wise, Roman Anthony has been doing pretty well throughout his career. He's been challenged pretty aggressively, especially in 2024, a 268 batting average. I think he was all the way up to Double-A last year. He had an amazing year last year as well. 268 career batting average, 200 career ISO, a 24.1 career K percentage. So far in the month of June, and this is probably why he's climbed so high, he's had 4 home runs, 4 doubles, and held 288 batting average. I really like Roman Anthony. He kind of climbed the prospect rankings over the last year. Like I said, in 2023, he had a big year. He's number 16 in MLB.com's top 100. He's a Let's Talk Wax rank of 1.5 for me, just because he plays a premium position defensively. He's got a hit power, speed, and defensive ceiling that are all very high. So 4 things working there for Roman Anthony. Definitely a kid that I really like, and a lot of people over in our Discord server are enjoying what Roman Anthony is doing as well. And he was a pretty cheap buy-in last year, but he has gotten pretty expensive out of 2023 Bowman. He's about a $125 base auto right now. At number 9, we've got Luke Keshaw, and this is a guy out of 2023 draft I thought would be a big sleeper. I really liked his numbers in college. He's 21.8 between high A and Double-A so far this year, over 310 plate appearances, the highest sample size on this top 10. He's hitting 327 with a 177 ISO. Great K numbers, a sub 2 K percentage, or a sub 2 K to walk ratio, and a sub 20 K percentage. 8 homers and 17 stolen bases. Now, if you look at the career numbers, they are just as good. A 315 career batting average, a 181 career ISO with a 17.1 K percentage. And the reason I always try to include career numbers with my content, whether it's Prospect Hot Sheet, the Juggernaut rankings, or it's the autograph checklist updates that I do on the channel. If you guys like that stuff, be sure to subscribe. The reason I include the career is so you can kind of see whether what a prospect's been doing this year is linear with what they've done through their career, because a lot of times prospects will go through hot streaks that could last 3 to 4 months or even the entire front or back half of a season, and the numbers that they put up may not quite add up to what they've done throughout their career, which does make me a little hesitant on the risk of that prospect. So I try to always go big into guys and really try to find the guys that have great career numbers as well as season numbers, just because there's more consistency there, and I think there's less risk of a prospect, whether you're doing fantasy or you're prospecting or whatever avenue you're using this information for. Just wanted to throw that out there. I haven't mentioned that in a few of my videos. So he's not a top 100 prospect yet. I think he could be a guy that may slip into the top 100. I just think that his defensive home is kind of uncertain right now. He's played the majority of his games at DH. When he's not DHing, he's playing second base and center field. So maybe the defensive issue, like how Keshaw fits into the mix at the big league level defensively, is what's keeping him out of the top 100, or the fact, that he doesn't have a huge power ceiling. He kind of right now looks like a high floor guy, but there are lots of high floor players on MLB.com's top 100 right now. He's a Let's Talk Wax rank of 2 for me, and his Bowman Chrome autos are selling for around $25. I think he's the cheapest on this list in my top 10 at $25, and he is out of 2023 Bowman draft. Now, if you enjoy my content and you'd like to help support my channel, be sure to check out my Patreon page. I'll put a link to it in the video description. Over there, you can access tons of exclusive content, including Bowman autograph checklist breakdowns for every Bowman release since 2019 that include current and career stats, a brief write-up, and Let's Talk Wax ranks for all prospects on each checklist. I also have Bowman team break guides for all releases since 2020. You can get access to my Juggernaut rankings that rank each minor league player based on specific stats, with files sorted by player and by rank, so you can easily find prospects in your collection. I also have a top 150 Bowman Chrome autos list and a top 150 Bowman Chrome autos under $50 list that I update 3 times per year. You can also get early access to all my video content and articles. On top of that, we have a private Let's Talk Wax Discord server with nearly 400 members to keep you up to date on all prospecting news and information. If you want to check it out, click the link in my video description. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who already supports me over there as we close in on nearly 1,000 members. Now, before we get into Zach Veen, I did mention when I was going over my Juggernaut formula that in the next update, which is going to be my July update, I try to update these things every 2 weeks over on Patreon and try to do a video for you guys every month. But what I'm noticing with the formula is guys that have performed very, very well in the front half or the first 2 months of the season and have gotten bogged down with injuries, they're staying in the top 10. So what I'm going to try to do moving forward is with every update, I'm going to try to increase the amount of plate appearances to qualify for the top 10. So we're not talking about the same guys, because Zach Veen's been in the top 10 for the last three episodes, but he's been injured since May 18th. So he hasn't had any production, and he's kind of riding that small sample size. And I'm not sure many people are going to top his numbers in the small sample size that he's had over the course of the year. So like I said, I am going to increase plate appearances as we move further into the season, and how many plate appearances it takes to qualify for the top 10. Now, injury or not, over on the main Juggernaut rankings on the Patreon page, they're going to be ranked accordingly just based on their numbers, so I'm not going to eliminate them from the overall ranking. But just for the top 10, so you guys aren't hearing me talk about the same 5 or 6 players, because you're going to notice in our top 5, we've got 2 guys on the DL or injured list that have been in the top 5 for the last 3 weeks as well. So we're going to jump into Zach Veen, 22.5 AA, 326 batting average, 242 ISO, all the same stats from the last episode. So I'm not going to talk too long on Zach Veen for you guys that have been watching this series since it started this year. 266 career average. He had a really bad season in 2023. He's been very injury prone. He was actually put on the injured list for a back issue on May 18th, but now in his rehab, he's faced some issues with a left hand and thumb injury. So I'm not really sure what the timetable is on Zach Veen, but like I said, he's very injury prone. It's kind of affected his development, I think, and he's kind of struggled at the Double-A level since reaching Double-A last year, and I think he may have played in some Double-A in 2022 as well. But he was a huge prospect coming out of 2020 draft, and like I said, the injuries have kind of stunted his development. Had a bad season in 2023, and he was off to a hot start in 2024, but the injury caught up with him again. His cards have dropped all the way down to about $40. I think that's one of the lowest dips that is his cards have had since 2020 draft releases, because he was a highly anticipated prospect out of that release. He did jump back into the top 100 on MLB.com's rankings, where he did not. He was eliminated last year. He fell out of the top 100 last year, but he jumped back in, of course, due to the hot start. But $40 auto right now out of 2020 draft, Zach Veen. We've got Jackson Holliday, another guy on the injured list. He's been on the injured list since June 12th with some right elbow inflammation. Now, he does throw right-handed and hit left-handed, so that is his throwing arm. From what I've read, there's not a huge area for concern about, maybe possibly a Tommy John surgery or, some UCL repair surgeries. From what I'm reading, it's just some inflammation, and they're going to keep him out of throwing for a week or two. So he should be back into business here shortly. But the number one prospect in MLB.com's rankings. He's my number one prospect right now. That still qualifies for my prospect rankings because he only had a small sample size in his major league debut earlier this year, where he struggled tremendously. His cards have dipped all the way down to about $300, but he's still putting up really good numbers. He had a .270 batting average with a 196 ISO, a K to walk ratio of 1, which means he took as many strikeouts as walks so far before the injury on 6/12. 7 home runs, 5 stolen bases. The career numbers are immaculate as well, and this is a kid who's been put under a lot of pressure age level wise by the organization. You can see he's 24.5 playing in AAA, and he was in the upper minors last year as a 19-year-old. So this kid can flat out swing, he can play. I do feel like his defensive home, depending on what Gunnar Henderson does, and maybe whatever happens with injuries at the big league level, he's probably going to play in the middle of the field somewhere. So definitely a very high profile guy here. But like I said, I think this is some of the lowest numbers I've seen as far as comps go for Jackson Holliday at $300. He is one of 2 elite rankees on my Let's Talk Wax on this list. There's going to be another guy in the top 5 that has an elite ranking as well. But he's out of 2022 draft, and if you're into Jackson Holliday, like I said, right now, while he's injured and after a rough start in the major leagues earlier this year, it could be a good time to jump on him. You can see like his stuff is down pretty far, so maybe, I don't know really how fantasy baseball works, if like his stock goes down because of the performance, but I definitely know in the prospecting world, if somebody struggles at the major league level and they get on the injured list and they're not playing, people tend to put them in the rearview mirror sometimes. At number 6, we've got Moises Ballesteros. And last year, I did do a video and I put him as a sleeper prospect because I really liked his offensive numbers. There's a whole lot going on here offensively. Ballesteros is probably one of the top bats in the minor leagues right now. He jumped on to the MLB.com's top 100, I think, in their last update at number 91. The big thing that I have with Ballesteros is the defensive ceiling, which is very low. He's going to be an average catcher behind the plate, but I do still think he's the highest defensive catcher in the organization right now at the minor league level. I'm not sure Jacob Amaya is ever going to be able to swing the bat. And high-profile offensive catchers are kind of becoming a norm now at the major league level. So you have to be able to pick it, flick it, and swing it to play behind home plate. 304 batting average so far this year, 204 ISO. Another one of the guys that's got a high sample size on this list at 243 plate appearances. Excellent K numbers. He's got 10 home runs. The career numbers are quite linear. They're only off by about 20 points in each section average in ISO. He's got a 280 career average at 173 career ISO, which is very close to what he's doing in the 2024 season. He's a Let's Talk Wax rank of 2. I would give him a lot higher rank if he did have a higher defensive ceiling. But like I said, right now, the skills behind the plate are just average. I'm not sure if they're going to be good enough to to play the position at the big league level. That may be why, you know, he hasn't gotten the chance to get to the major league level with his offensive profile yet. But he has played 23 games at DH and 30 games at catcher. So he's catching just about as much as he's playing DH. He did mix in some appearances at first base there as well. But a huge bat here with a low defensive ceiling. And we're going to jump into our our top 5. Now, as I mentioned before, if you guys have been following this series, I think this is my third or fourth, maybe my third video. I did not do these last year. I actually created the formula this offseason for Juggernaut rankings, or it was late last season, I don't believe, but I never did videos for this. But it's a fun series that I like to do. If you follow the series, you're going to notice these 5 names because they were all in the top 5 last episode, but they are in different positions. We've got Carson Williams, who in the last episode was at number 1. Tampa Bay Rays, 20.9 years old. He's got a huge speed, power, and defensive ceiling. He's slowing down a little bit offensively. In the month of May, he hit 247, and in June so far, he's hitting 236. So he was off to a very hot start, and he's cooling off a little bit right now. So we may see his prices dip, or it's not prices, but we may see his rank dip a little bit in the next episode. He'll also be turning 21 in my next update, which will make him lose a few points of age level, because I think it's a point that, based on the formula, you guys can see if you get on to the Patreon, I do attach how the formula actually works over there on my 2023 finalized rankings. You can kind of see how age level is input into the formula. But he will lose some points with age level when he turns 21. He also loses the majority of his points in the K numbers. He's got a 30.6 career K percentage, the highest on this list, but he has done better this season so far. He's got a 26.4% K rate, and he's playing in Double-A, so I'm glad the K numbers are down. The K to walk ratio is still a little high at 2.4, but like I said, there aren't many shortstops that have the speed, power, and hit ceiling that and defensive ceiling that Carson Williams has. He could be a special player down the road. And he's definitely going to be a guy to watch. He's going to be an exciting player. I think he's going to swing and miss a little bit, but like I said, the ability to pick it, to run, to hit for power, and to hit for some average, those are really hard to find with true shortstops, and a lot of those guys end up getting moved to third base or second base. But I do think that Carson Williams is going to stick at shortstop for the long haul. He's number 15 in MLB.com's top 100. He's a 1.5 ranky for me on my Let's Talk Wax rank. He is a $50 auto out of 2021 Bowman draft, and do be aware that, like I said, he is cooling off a bit, and he will lose some points in the next update turning 21. So definitely something to consider with the rankings in the next episode. At number 4, we've got Davison De Los Santos. He's got the most home runs on this list by a long shot at 21. He was not protected in the Rule 5 draft. He was picked up by the Cleveland Guardians in the Rule 5 draft. He was not added to the 40-man roster by the Cleveland Guardians after he was picked up in the Rule 5 draft, so he defaulted back to the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I'm sure the Guardians are very unhappy with the decision they made to not put him on the 40-man roster entering the 2024 season, because this has been the best season of his career, and it hasn't even been close. He's holding a 346 batting average with a 312 ISO, over 287 plate appearances between Double-A and Triple-A at 21.1. Now, I do see some Miguel Sano comps here. I know a lot of people, from what I've read, kind of comp him with Miguel Sano. A 3.5 K to walk ratio has been his kind of Achilles heel. He doesn't take a ton of walks, but he also doesn't strike out much, a 21.9 K percentage. So I can definitely tolerate guys that don't take walks, that don't swing and miss as much as guys who don't take walks and swing and miss. So there's not a whole lot of swing and miss with Davison De Los Santos. 21 home runs, as I mentioned before. He's got a 296 career batting average and a 209 career ISO. You can see how the power has shot up by over 100 points in his ISO this season based on his career numbers. So a big season. Lower K rate, he's had a 25.4 K percentage and a 21.9 K percentage in 2024. So he's lowered the K numbers. A lot of things going really well for this guy. I've covered him in every episode. I think, like I said, he's been another guy kind of like Emmanuel Rodriguez and James Wood that have been in every single episode. And he's out of 2023 Bowman Chrome. He's a $55 auto, and in the month of June, he's hit 6 home runs and held a .320 batting average. So he hasn't slowed down since the beginning of the season. Definitely one of the biggest surprises, I think, coming into the 2024 season. And he's not yet on MLB.com's top 100, but kind of like Luke Keshaw, I think he may be a guy that definitely makes the next update in some facet, because it's hard to deny the progress that he's made in the season so far. At number 3, we've got James Wood, and I really don't understand the logic behind him still being in minor league baseball. In my notes here, I have hashtag free James Wood, because I think it's definitely time to see this guy at the major league level. He's got one of the highest ceiling bats in all of minor league baseball. His K numbers are down in AAA from his career. He's got a K percentage of 18.8 in AAA this year, and he's held a 26.3% K rate over his career. So that's a significant adjustment. Those are some significant changes to his K percentage at one of the highest levels of baseball. He's another guy that's been pressured throughout his career. He's hitting .301 over his career with a .237 ISO. He's got 10 homers, 10 stolen bases so far this year, 21.7 years old. He's like 6'6". He's number 4 on MLB.com's top 100. He's the only other elite rankee in this top 10 for me. His cards are around $250, and they are out of 2022 Bowman. 2022 Bowman. He is a Padre on his first Chrome auto, so don't get confused, or in his first Chromes as well. Don't get confused when you see him in a Padres jersey. He is with the Washington Nationals. So James Wood, like I said, it's time for him to move on from minor league baseball and see what he's capable of at the next level. We could also say the same for Jacob Wilson, but he was off to an immaculate start. He was hitting .452 with a .223 ISO. He had a career high in home runs and doubles going into the season. He was on pace to hit more home runs than he's ever hit in his career. Now, the ISO is kind of juiced by a small plate appearance sample size of 135. He did have a knee injury, and he is currently rehabbing in the complex league, so I expect to hopefully see Jacob Wilson back up in the upper minors within a week. For sure. He's hitting .571 in the complex league right now during his rehab assignment. Definitely a kid that I think the Oakland A's could utilize in some way at the major league level. He's 22.2, a true shortstop, an elite contact tool. He's got the lowest K percentage on this list at 8.8, a career batting average since being drafted in the first round in 2023 of .400, a career K percentage of 9.3. Just a lot of bold numbers here for Jacob Wilson. And like I said, I have a really nice PSA card that one of my buddies sent to me to give away to you guys. It's a hand-signed and PSA 10 paper auto that's signed, that PSA got a bunch of his autographs, on release. He actually, I think, went into the PSA main place and signed a bunch of cards, and one of my buddies from PSA sent me the card to give away. And I've been waiting for Jacob Wilson to get a call up to the major league level to give it away. I've been holding on to it for about 3 months. So hopefully that will happen soon, and I'll be able to give that card away to you guys on Patreon. You can join over there for free and enter those giveaways as well as the subscriber stuff too. So Jacob Wilson, definitely a guy that we've covered before. He can flat out swing it. There's not a ton of juice, but he can swing the bat. Number 1 is Emmanuel Rodriguez, and he has been out since June 5th with a sprained thumb. He has been in the top 5 of almost every video so far this season. But like I said, Jacob Wilson's in the process of rehabbing right now, so he may achieve the 200 or may go to 175. Whatever plate appearance cutoff I choose to make, if Emmanuel Rodriguez does not come back soon, he may not make the plate appearance cut in the next video, kind of like Zach Veen. because he's sitting at number 1 in a lot of my content in the top 3, but he hasn't done anything in about a month. So hopefully he can get back into playing. He's got 298 average and 323 ISO since the injury. He's a huge speed, power, defensive ceiling guy. The big thing is kind of like Carson Williams. He does swing and miss a lot, and he had some prevalent swing and miss last year. He had a lot more swing and miss than he did this year at 27.5, but he struggled quite a bit in 2023. His career average is 251. I think the big thing here is the power tool. That's his brightest tool, but like I said, he's taking a lot of walks in 2024, which he did not do in 2023. He's got a 1.09 K to walk ratio. So he is out of 2021 Bowman Chrome for about 51 or 55 bucks. He's a Let's Talk Wax rank of 2, and in the top 100, he is number 30. Now, as I mentioned before, you can find my complete Juggernaut rankings over on my Patreon page. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who supports me over there, and especially my level 3 sponsors. You guys rock. If you enjoyed this content and you'd like to subscribe to my channel, please do so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I hope you all have a great day and enjoy watching the videos that I put out. Y'all have a good one.